Welcome to Quick Chats, powered by LGT. My name is Bailey Price, and I'm your host for the day. Today I have with me Jonathan Cook, here to talk about dealerships in the digital age. So Jonathan, excited to have you.
Thank you for having me today.
Of course. So today we're talking about dealerships in the digital age. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your role at LGT and the clients that you serve?
So at LGT, I work mainly in the dealerships with the tax department. Been there about 7-8 years. So mostly compliance and everything like that. Get to help with some succession planning and things like that. Really get to see the whole enchilada.
For sure. So we're here to talk about dealerships. What do dealerships need?
So dealerships, as you know, are a very wide-ranging enterprise. They've got many different departments. So of course, what comes with that is they're going to need many different services. So for instance, with LGT, we provide, of course, we're going to provide, whatever they need in terms of bookkeeping with our consulting department, reviews, audits, compilations with our assurance department, and then compliance with our tax department. So what LGT does that I think really helps us stand apart is that we can help facilitate and connect people to whatever services they need. So we have, through past, present, and I would hope future leadership, that we have made a lot of good connections in the whole space. So we may not be able to, do a merger and acquisition for a dealership on our own, but we know exactly who they need to talk to get those things done.
For sure. I'm hearing kind of a holistic understanding of what dealerships need, what services, and the ability to kind of connect them so they have the resources they need moving forward.
Right. Yes.
So you recently wrote an article on dealerships and the digital age. Can you give me a little intro into topics you discussed and kind of big takeaways that our clients can take away?
So for the digital age, as you know, of course, we've been in it for a while now, but things have really come to a forefront with COVID and working from home, and brick and mortar has taken another losses to the digital space. Online shopping is here to stay. For instance, and this was back in 2015, 2016, when I bought the car I drive now, I looked online, went to cars.com, knew year, make, model, trim, down to a T, exactly what I wanted. So I just, set the scope as far out as I felt like going. And when I did, found the car I wanted 2 hours away. I went and drove all the way out there, bought the car, came back. So that is not a unique experience in terms of car buying. Traditionally, car dealerships have worked with more of like a loyalty relationship-based model, which of course is great, and there will always be people that want to have that service, and that's here to stay. More and more people, especially in my generation, are looking for the Amazon of cars. They just want to have a buy online, click a button, have the car to me and done. So really what I was looking at with that article was things like Carvana disrupting the space and saying, hey, your used vehicles, like you're really gonna have to step up how you advertise online, otherwise we're just gonna take your business.
Right. I think you're right. We've been switching to this kind of digital era for a while now, and I think COVID really did accelerate this process and show people what's really possible to do online, which we originally maybe thought had to be done in person.
Right.
So we're talking a lot about this switch to the digital age, to moving online. I think this might pose a problem or might pose some obstacles to local dealerships. So how can local dealerships offer services that scale to the same kind of experience that maybe bigger dealerships have an advantage over?
So local dealerships definitely are handed a challenge with the move to the digital space. Being a larger dealership would mean that you have more capital to be able to invest and spread that cost out over multiple locations. But local dealers definitely aren't, out of luck here. They can have a better web presence, which LGD can help them with through partnering with one of our third parties and say, hey, really get things up to speed, looking like nice user experience, things like that. So really, their local dealerships aren't, again, out of luck yet, but they do need to be moving into that digital space.
Right. And so when we talk about services that LGT provides that could kind of step in and make up for some of these obstacles, what do you think? What can LGT provide?
So LGT can facilitate and connect people with either somebody who would be able to help them get to that point with software training, software installation. We do something that's called the Controllers Roundtable twice a year that started back up now that things are opening back up now. And just for instance, at the controllers roundtable, there was a controller there that had been talking about all these new things he was doing with title work and things like I hadn't even thought of in terms of software. So really, he ended up, it was a presentation by somebody else, but he ended up giving a lot of information that I could tell helped a lot of different clients, like just things they hadn't thought of. So those kind of like interactions, those kind of that's what LGT can do beyond, because I mean, we're not the IT department, so we can't, as a compliance tax person, I can't come in and really do that for you. I wish I could, but there's only so much I can do.
So what if they're looking for some kind of expansion or ways to save? Are there ways that LGT can kind of step in and make that transition easier for them?
Definitely, yes. So for instance, in the compliance tax department, there's of course deferrals and acceleration of expenses and deductions. So tax can really help with how do we want to make sure that cash flow is moving while there's a new capital cost with putting in some software. Or we can bring in the audit department and they'll be able to help make sure that all the books look right and everything's really ready to go if they want to do a merger or an acquisition of some sort, to be able to spread that cost out again and really maybe even bring in somebody that already has the software that they want to use, and then it's just integrating rather than starting from scratch.
Right. So I love all these tactics that we're talking about moving into this digital space. I think we need to take a step back and ask, is it necessary for dealerships to move into this digital space?
Yes. Unfortunately, fortunately, it is. We've, ever since really the Y2K bubble, and even before then, all that panic, the digital age is here to stay. And with the pandemic and everything going on, the online space is really burgeoned. Look at Amazon; they're I'm assuming the most market share. So dealers have to move to the digital space, either through selling is one way to do it. If there's a lot of smaller dealerships now that it would be very challenging to bring in that much software and really make that much change when we have a aging dealer owner population, and a lot of them are looking at, hey, dealership prices are as high as they've ever been. I'm getting a little bit older. Maybe my kids don't want to take the job. It's time to, the pandemic has opened my eyes. It's time to retire and move on. But for people that still want to stay in the game, still want to get their hands dirty, there's mergers and acquisitions. They can either join a bigger group or bring in other groups to make their group bigger and again, spread out those costs, really make moving to the online space make sense, because it is a big transition. Or, really that's it, mergers or acquisitions. Yeah.
Jonathan, you seem quite knowledgeable about dealerships and how they can really make this efficient transition into the digital age and continue moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. LGT's been working with hundreds of dealerships, just even in my short 8 years, relatively speaking. There, LGT, I've seen a lot of different dealers, and they're not moving in and out, but here to stay. From franchise to independent dealers, we help with their rental real estate companies. We help with their other, maybe they've got a side project they want to do. We also help with succession planning, or even with helping with their kids' tax returns, because really our goal is, we want the client to feel secure in their finances, from business all the way to personal, to even the smallest thing, because that's just one less thing they've got to worry about, and they've got plenty.
I think that's fantastic. When you join LGT, you surely get this. You really do get a big team. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your knowledge. And thank you all for joining us as well. Be sure to follow us on social media. You can find those links in the description below. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for future updates.